in child protective services, and they won't give them back to their loving families because they're making money.
This is a legal system that you're going into. And if you don't know the rules, you will be chewed up and spit out.
If I could say anything to a mother who just got their children detained, you're in a crisis. Yeah. Life feels like it's over. The most important thing is regaining custody of your children.
The child welfare system at its core is designed to protect children who need protection, okay? And that's key, is who need protection.
So social workers, out of fear, will remove more children rather than only remove those children that truly need to be removed.
It's okay. It's okay.
This isn't someone stole your car. Someone broke into your house. This is someone took your child, your flesh and blood.
It doesn't say on this order that it was not proven. It says untrue. I immediately knew that, okay, well, this ain't over.
Were there signs there? Were there no signs? Did I miss them? Did I catch them? At this point, I honestly don't know.
Families only get a finite amount of time to reunify.
I came into this field to help families, not destroy them.
The difference between the criminal system and the child welfare system is substantial. You have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Georgette Truen. I am the co-host for Fight CPS with Ms. G, and I work for the law office of Vincent Davis, and I have my co-host today, Cassandra.
Hi.
Hi, honey. So I am going to share a few things with you guys. Cassandra actually knows about this as well. I'm not sure if most of you guys know. But there was a judge on March 17 that was arrested. He's a retired judge that actually sex trafficked kids. You know, kids in the system, that is. And this scumbag was arrested. So for those people who think some judges are good, all that crap is not true. Judges and juvenile dependency courts are all corrupt. And that's why social workers get away with a lot of shit. That's exactly why they get out with a lot of shit. I would like to tell you guys this. Courage is not the lack of fear. It is acting in spite of it. That's Mark Twain. And it makes a lot of sense. They want you guys to be fearful. They want you guys to be intimidated. They want to intimidate you guys to the point of you feel helpless. You cannot fight this on your, you cannot fight the system. That is not true. You can fight the system. The problem with this is, like, I had so many people that contacted me yesterday, the whole week, actually. A lot of them that goes through investigation phase, they don't think they need an attorney, but yet they still call our office. I'm not sure why, but they think they don't need an attorney. Yes, you do need an attorney. It doesn't matter if you're a good parent. You think Cassandra is a bad parent? She's a good parent. Doesn't mean anything. They steal children who are good children, by the way. They don't take children who are really abused in the home. They take children who are not abused in the home because they're easily adopted. That's why they do what they do. So courage is not the lack of fear. It is acting in spite of it. And put that in your head. It's very important. When you go through the investigation phase in your case, the kids are not removed yet. But when the social worker gets a report, you better believe their first goal is to remove the children from you. That's their first goal. Because removal, they get money. They get paid big bucks for removing children. Okay? some of you who are dealing with cases right now and you need cash during a pending case, there is a place called Momentum Funding that I found out about. Their number is 866-534-4602. They're based in New York, but they do fund certain states. Unfortunately, not all states. It's called Momentum Funding. They're very good if you, for example, um, if you're going through a lawsuit, if you're going through a lawsuit, like if you want to sue CPS, you can call this company and they fund you for the case. Okay. And again, the number is 866-534-4602. And you guys can call them and see which state, they fund exactly. So during the CPS investigation, the social worker will come to your house. The social worker will say, assess your house. They will say, oh, you got food, your house is clean, etc., etc. They leave. Then all of a sudden, they come back with a police officer. They have that officer with them to intimidate you. Remember that. When you see a social worker with a badge and you see an officer with a gun and a badge and uniform, a parent does get intimidated. They're like, oh my God, this law enforcement, I have to do what they tell me to do. Okay. First of all, like Mr. Davis says, do not allow them in your home without a warrant. You have the right to say no. So they also will come at you by having you sign papers. I had a client yesterday who was forced to sign papers, and they told her that if you don't sign the papers, that we're going to remove your children, that they are going to remove the kids. So out of fear, she signed the papers. But she's consented to, for them to have control over her children. That's basically what it is. A lot of people think that if they do the classes, they're okay. They're going to get their kids back. That's a lie. You guys have to understand that classes are there to distract you. That's all it is. So, because for instance, if it's not a drug relation case, not drug related, and they say the case is domestic violence, the mother calls to protect herself and the children, and the report goes under the mother's name, not under the perpetrator, but under the mother's name, right? The victim. So they make it against the mother automatically. Remember that. When the police is called, it goes under the mother's name. And for some disgusting reason, they always leave the children with the abuser. That's real shit. I'm telling you, this is not made up crap. You can't make this shit up. They always leave the children with the abuser, and they punish the mother. And it's sad, but it's true. If it's the other way around, say if the mother is the abuser, then she gets the children temporarily, not really permanently. And then they remove the children from her, and the children goes into foster home. Oftentimes, the younger the child is, they put the child in an adoptive foster home. Like I mentioned to you guys before, there's two homes. There's an adoptive foster home, and there's a foster home. So that foster home, they rather have guardianship of children, legal guardianship. They don't want to adopt. But the adoptive foster homes, they want to adopt. That's why they became foster parents, because it's the cheapest way to go with them, to adopt using the state. Okay, we all know that this crap happened in the 1997 Bill Clinton 1997 Act of Bill Clinton. Okay, there is a lot of times parents say the kid, they're alienating me from the children, etc. And it's true, they alienate you from the children.
Yep.
People that generally alienate are people that have mental health issues. For example, sociopath, narcissist, borderline personality disorder. So this is what CPS does. This is the 17 signs of parental alienation, and it's illegal. Bad mouthing the other parent, which they do. limiting contact with the other parent, which they do, interfering with communication via letters, phone calls, emails, etc., interfering with symbolic communication like photos, and they target the parents in child home, meaning they want to keep that child silent and the parent silent, and they don't want to have any communication with them. Okay,
Yep.
you know, Cassandra.
That was me.
And withdrawal of love towards the child, telling the child that the targeted parent does not love them, forcing the child to choose between parents, creating the impression that the targeted parent is dangerous to the child, confining in the child, forcing the child to reject the targeted parent, asking the child to spy on the targeted parent, asking the child to keep secrets from the targeted parent, referring to the targeted parent by first name, referring to the step parent as mom or dad, and encouraging the child to do the same, withholding medical, academic, and other important information from the targeted parent, keeping targeted parent name off medical, academic, and other relevant documents, changing the child's name to remove association with the targeted parent, cultivating dependency on the part of the child. Okay? So, good parents do not engage in parental alienation. And like I said, often the alienating parent mental illness has not been diagnosed many times until a traumatic events such as divorce, breakup, or custody dispute. The alienating parent may have no noticeable signs of mental illness. Other times, symptoms of their personality disorder have been looming for years. The most common personality disorder that lends themselves to parental alienation are mentally borderline mental health disorder, such as narcissist, sociopath, borderline personality disorder, and antisocial disorder. So basically, doing a bad breakup, a bad divorce, right? A bad custody case. The narcissistic parent will go to court. He or she would be very calm, very calm. Charmers. They're charmers. There's a difference between charming and charmers. They're charmers. So they charm the court. They know they know what to do in court to have the court on their side. While the victim is fighting for her or his children to keep them safe. And because we know judges are stupid, because they tend to believe a lie, they're not equipped to read a narcissist or a sociopathic piece of shit in front of them. So what they tend to do, they look at the victim as the perpetrator, and they look at the perpetrator as the victim. That's exactly how judges do it in court. And I'm talking about juvenile and family court.
Mm-hmm.
Not just juvenile. Family court is just as fucked up and guilty.
My cousin actually is just going through that.
Yeah.
She was actually like wanting to talk to me about it, like seeing if she could have been on the show or something, because she's been through that. Like her baby's dad or whatever has their son, and he's basically alienating her from their son.
Yep.
And she was a great mom, and she freaking had like he wasn't even part of his life for the first part of his life, and then he just all of a sudden wanted to take him.
Yep, because of money. Because you know the money that they get every year from Biden.
Yeah, she was like a assistant director at a old folks home or something like that.
Yeah.
And doing like her job, and she was really doing good. And then he just came along and just said, "Oh no, it's mine." And then he charmed the court with his charmingness, and yeah. She lost.
Yeah, I know. Narcissistic personality disorder, you guys. Children with a narcissist parent are likely to endure parental alienation because a narcissists are self-absorbed, have a need for control. They're very controlling, do not value differing opinions or viewpoint from those of the narcissist, and tend to use children as pawns when interacting with a former spouse. The narcissist has been embarrassed and victimized in their divorce or separation and is desperate to regain their stature in society and for vindication. So basically, they choose to vindicate, right? And choose to clear their name by starting a smear campaign against the other parent. And
Mhm.
that's what it is. And whatever the narcissist would do, they say, you did it. You did it. You caused it. Just like the social worker. The social worker would say shit, do shit, and then they say, oh, it's the parents' fault. All along, they're the ones traumatizing the children, but then they turn it around and say it's the parents' fault. That's why the system is narcissist. They're all screwed up and they need psychiatric mental health. They need to be medicated. They need to be in a room locked up by themselves. I mean, seriously, these assholes, they destroy families on purpose and they enjoy it. A narcissist enjoys his or her behavior. When they inflict pain on people, they actually get satisfaction. Real, like real shit, they get satisfied. They get satisfied. And unfortunately, our judicial system, they suck because they can't tell between a narcissist and a sane person. They can't tell them apart, which is really, really sad. And who suffers in all this?
The
Our
children.
children. So parental alienation exists from the government and from a narcissist and a sociopathic parent, that is. Oftentimes, well, all the time, a narcissist doesn't like to lose. When they lose, they result in other tactics by creating chaos, more chaos in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Before, when you're dealing with one situation, they create another situation and another situation and another situation. And then you don't know which one you go to, number one, number two, three, four, five, right? And they step aside and they act like they're the victims. And when you try to justify, when you try to speak the truth, the judges tell you to shut up, or the judges tell you don't speak, or they mute you. They don't want you to speak the truth because the truth to them is a lie and the lie is the truth. When you're dealing with a corrupt system or a corrupt parent, you're literally dealing with insanity. They're insane. They're not normal. They're there to accomplish a task. With a narcissist, the task is winning. They want to get what they want. They want to have the upper hand. They want to be in control. There's a judge that I was talking about earlier. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I forgot. But he's in Chicago. That was on March 17th of this year, of this month. A retired judge was arrested. The one I was talking to you guys about. It's in Polk County. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said Daniel Peters, 66, told detective that he used to be a judge in Cook County 4th Sub-Circuit Court and special assistant for legal affairs in the Office of Professional Regulation at Cook County Sheriff Office in Illinois. He was charged with soliciting prostitute. Here he is. Here he is. What's funny, when I was looking at his picture, he looked like Joe Biden.
Who's also a creep.
He's a creep.
Yeah. I like. Yeah. There's like a video of him like sniffing girls' hair and stuff. Like, come on now, especially little girls.
Little
like,
girls.
Yeah.
But that's the foster homes. See, people think, okay, in New Jersey or New York, one of those, I can't remember, but they arrested two couples. A couple, a man and a woman. That's her boyfriend. They had 2 foster kids, teenagers. They used them to prostitute, and they made money under the table. Where the fuck are the social workers then? Where? There were so many reports made by the biological parents, by the way, and they were not heard. In fact, in court, they shut them up. And the social worker told them that if they made another complaint, they're going to cancel their services, meaning they can no longer see their children. But the kids were speaking up to the parents. They were scared. So when you're in a foster home and the fucking social worker tells your child, you can't discuss what happens in the foster home to your mom during your Zoom call. So they're literally teaching the child to lie and keep secrets because they don't want the child to speak of what's really going on. And when the child does speak of what's really going on, then guess what the foster parent does? Clicks off the video. Done. When the mother raises her concern, then the mother is in trouble. You're fucking treating people, parents, like they're fucking animals. You don't even treat an animal like that. You don't treat an animal like this. But they treat parents like they don't exist. Like they're incubators, they're ovens that give birth so that fucking state can take over.
And so, like, creepos like this guy, look at this guy. It's a pastor and a foster parent. He was a pastor and a foster parent in Tampa, Florida, and he was accused of sexual molestation and of multiple children. At least 3 that they know of, a 7-year-old victim, an 11-year-old victim, and he's 81.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine all the other things that they didn't find out about in his lifetime. He's old. And they just barely caught him.
Barely, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's already done his damage. That's what gets me about the system. They're so crazy. They're stupid. Like, seriously, they need to educate judges. They need to fucking have them study psychology or something. Be able to read the person in front of them. They need to really give them some training. Because apparently the social workers run the show in court. So the judges are just there wearing a black robe and saying, well, what do you want to do? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So why don't you fucking just put a black robe on a social worker and call it a day? I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. The people that rule this, the whole fucking nation, are criminals. Mm-hmm. Our fucking judicial system is a criminal. They're all criminals. For allowing this shit to happen, you have to be as fucked up as a criminal. There's really there's no nice way to say it. Because what really aggravates me are children. The children who are suffering. The children are suffering because of you motherfuckers. The children are suffering. And what really gets me too, when parents hire an attorney, you need to be honest to your attorney. Okay? We have parents who hire for their kids, right? The grandparents hire for their daughter, for example. Their daughter is not being honest with their attorney. They lose the case. That daughter is not telling her mother everything. That daughter is not telling her mother that she went out of state and didn't go to her visitation with her kids and decided to go out of state instead. The attorney never knew about this until she was in court with her. You know what I mean? And then they lose the case. She loses the case and then blames the attorney for losing the case. It's bullshit. So people who hire an attorney, you need to be honest with them. You need to literally tell them everything. Even if you're guilty, tell them everything. That's why there's attorney-client confidentiality. And that confidentiality stays for the rest of your life with that attorney. But you need to be honest with your attorney. Because oftentimes they blame the attorney, but the attorney didn't put you in your situation. The partner you chose put you in the situation. The mother you have put you in a situation, because your mother is the one that called CPS against you to begin with, or your sister, or your aunt, or your husband's girlfriend. The lawyer didn't put you there. So when you hire an attorney, I'm not talking about court-appointed piece of shit attorneys. They're useless. But when you hire your own attorney, be honest with them. 100% honest. There's no really to sugarcoat shit about this. It's either you're honest or you're not. And you have to be honest with yourself. If it's a drug-related case, stop using drugs. Clean yourself. Drugs are only temporary fix. That's all it is. But you have to ask yourself, do you want your kids or do you want justice? Oftentimes people say, I want justice. You can't have both. There is no justice in court. So get this shit out of your head. You don't get justice in court. Period. Because if there's justice in court, there wouldn't be so many people in jail who are innocent. There wouldn't be so many people fighting for their children if there is fucking justice in this world. People go to court expecting justice. No fucking justice. So focus on getting your children back before you focus on destroying a social worker. Because no matter what the fuck they do, they get away with it. That's it. They get away with it. What does Trump have to do with this, Vicky? What does Trump have to do with this? So I can easily tell you, hey, I can easily say Biden is not doing shit. I can easily say Biden is a fucking predator.
I could easily say that the reason why we might be able to have some hope is because of Trump with the first Family Prevention Act.
Yep.
That he signed. It's stopping what Bill Clinton did in 1997.
Yes.
It's helping us try to get reunified with our kids.
Yes. And
it's
actually Trump
causing issues for them to stop getting funded.
Right.
That's what Trump did.
Yeah. So, but people don't see that because the media is feeding you guys a different story. Completely.
The media doesn't talk about it.
No, it doesn't. So this is not a Trump show.
This is real news.
This is not a Biden show. This is real shit that's going on in the judicial system. Government is corrupt. Everybody's corrupt. So if Biden is such a great guy, why doesn't he stop this shit? Why doesn't he involve himself?
He doesn't.
There you go, Vicky. That's all I have to say about that. I would like to let you guys know this. When you're dealing with the system, oftentimes people say, Georgette, the social worker lied. We know she lied. There is not one social worker on the face of the fucking earth that will not lie. Mm-hmm. Okay? Social workers get a lot of money. They make a lot of money. A year, most of the money they make a year are just incentives for removing a child, or 2, or 10, or 15, or 20. They make more money than a fucking attorney. Yeah, they do. Those motherfuckers make more money than our attorney in our office. The court-appointed attorney, people say, oh no, I'm going to stick with the court-appointed attorney because he's free. He's free. So you think he's free, but he's not free. That attorney makes a lot of money, just not by you, by the state. So that attorney works for the state. So guess who he or she is going to side with? The hand that feeds them. And that's reality. The hands that feeds them. So remember that. I'm sorry. What does she mean Biden was brought up? Vicky, I don't understand what you mean by that. Okay, so Pennsylvania aggressive movement said Trump did do that. I don't agree with him on many things, but give credit where credit is due. They are corrupt. Both parties are corrupted, and fighting between the people is not helping. We need to come together, vote for policy, not parties or powerful people. God bless you. Because that's exactly what I've been telling you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just vote because you're a particular, you're a Democrat. You vote for a Democrat, or you vote for a Republican because you're a Republican. It's bullshit. You have to focus on what is right for the country and the people. And Trump did do that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and tell them what you were saying, Cassandra.
In 2018, when he was still in office, he signed a First Family Prevention Act, which is going to help with reunification and basically stop and prevent children even going into the foster care system. He's giving a chance for kids at imminent risk of getting put in foster care a chance not to be put in foster care by helping the parents with substance abuse and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they do get put in foster care, it's helping them not be funded as much, because it's going to stop the funding for like placement homes up to a certain amount of weeks after. And then they have to go into like a different program if they have trauma, which is kind of a loophole, but like and by then they are hoping that the kids get reunified apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They just barely started doing anything about it this year because it gave them a 2-year leeway so they could figure out how to make loopholes, I think.
Mm. So anyways, that's Trump doing, by the way, not Biden, not Clinton. So you might not like Trump, but he's done some good stuff for the country. But what's going on with Biden now? So if you guys want to make it political, I'll make it political. I'll make it a political show. But like Pennsylvania progressive movement said, give credit where credit is due. Period. Whether you like Trump or not, he did do something right. More than something. He did a lot of things right for the country.
Mm-hmm.
And they distract you with the media shit and say he's in cahoots with Russia, he's in this, he's that. But the thing about it is, if he wanted to make peace with the Russian president, it was for our own good. That doesn't mean he's in cahoots. But again, corruption starts like this. When a certain party wants to create chaos to distract you from the truth, they will do that and distract everybody from what's really happening.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton was trying to distract everybody when he was doing something good because she didn't want him to change her policy of what they did in 1997.
Mm-hmm. Her husband's
It's
policy.
that easy, that's simple.
Exactly.
Like she was trying to make everybody think he's a bad guy, so that way they didn't see that he was trying to end what her and her husband did.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's simple.
It's very simple. But again, when there's corruption going on, they will mislead you. And that's where the truth becomes the lie and the lie becomes the truth.
And Biden's the only president who's not got along with Putin, by the way. All the other presidents got along with him and kept it civil because he's who he is.
Yeah. And it's good to have peace with somebody like that.
Keep your
Instead
friends
of
close
having
and your
them as
enemies closer.
There you go. So people mock Trump for doing it and all this crap. Look what's going on right now. I have absolutely zero respect. I have zero respect for everybody in power because they're misusing their power. And the people are the ones suffering. The children are suffering in the process. This shit has to stop. This motherfucking people has to be stopped. Period. I had a client yesterday, and that's the God honest truth. He called me. He said, "What is your success rates in winning cases?" I said, "What do you mean success rates?" Like, people think we have to give them a number. I can honestly say, okay, the number is 100. That's a lie. There is no such thing that any law firm has 100% success rate. What guarantees me to get my kids back? That's bullshit, because your life is not even guaranteed. And I told him this. I said, look, I'm not guaranteed to be alive in the next 2 seconds. Wouldn't guarantee you're going to win a case, but we sure will fight really hard to get your children back, because we hate the system just as much as you do. Okay, so I was very rough with him. And as God is my witness, he said, he was silent. And he said, thank you for being honest with me. He told me, thank you for being honest and straightforward with me, because I've been calling a lot of law firms and they've been giving me some bullshit answers. 100% success rate, 80% success rate, et cetera, et cetera. That's bullshit. That's a lie.
There's a lot of factors that come into play. Like, you can't
there's a lot of
always
factors. We have attorneys that go on hearings and they don't know the real truth until the end of the case. And then they look at the client like, why in the name of God didn't you tell me this? Oh, I forgot. Or I can't tell you because I'm afraid of my mom. I don't want my mom to find out. Oh, I don't want my dad to find out. But that's wrong. Because you can't be afraid of your own attorney.
That's your defense.
That's your defense.
You can't,
do
expect them
that.
to defend something that they don't know about.
There you go. You can't do that. And then come at the end and blame it on your attorney, while your mother, who paid for your fees, doesn't know anything you've done. Or your father, or your aunt, or your sister, or your brother. They have no idea what the truth really lies. And of course, the attorney's not going to go tell, because it's client-attorney confidentiality. So the attorney's not going to go say to your mom what really happened. But you're feeding your mom and your relatives with some bullshit lies about that attorney. So you've got to be honest. You have to be honest. Lisa said, my kids was removed at age 11, at 11 and a half. 11 and a half years ago. 11 and a half. 3 years ago. Her own lawyer, an abuse discretion against MADCF. They are moving child from a group home that costs $312,000 a year, 2 hours away to closer home. By the way, the group home is so corrupt. It's a movement that bring home. Eventually, judge found me not guilty, but child autistic. She does self-harm and behaviors. Child needs 24/7 care. They have no husband, cannot afford $200K or $300K to board her. Wow. The system doesn't care, but they don't have sympathy or empathy. They don't care if you're a single mom or not. They really don't care. So they inflict harm on children. And even if you get your child back, your child is so damaged by them that they do need 24/7 care because of them. It's so hard to hear everybody's story. And I told one of our clients yesterday, I wish I was a trillionaire to help everybody in need, to get them attorneys. I kid you not. I wish I had so much money that I would help everybody. However, unfortunately, people think their retainer is going to be enough for their case, which is not true. Your retainer is not enough for your whole case against the state. And even in family law, especially when there's a custody battle, that's pretty costly. So anything you do in court is pretty costly. Anything you do with your children to help them, it costs money. The therapist costs money. And even if you have Medi-Cal, they only give you like a few sessions for free. But if you're going for a long haul, I don't think they pay for all of them. A friend of mine actually brought that up to my attention last week. So it's extremely difficult. Vicky said, I'm an independent. I don't like either. No need to attack. Thought this format was about fighting CPS to get our kids back. Sorry, I misunderstood. No, it is fighting about this format is about fighting CPS and to get children back. But you started it with the Trump comment. There was no need for that. So I'm just responding to you, Vicky. And for the people that know me, I speak my mind, regardless of who you are. You could be the vice president on my show, and I will still speak my mind. So that's just how it goes. Pennsylvania said the government single parents are great targets. Sick, then they pit these programs out to help people in need, which I agree with. But they use them against parents. I'm sorry, we live in a real messed up place. This is not America. Again, you're right. You are very right. This is not America. This is really fucked up. What they do to parents is really fucked up. And everybody is suffering. Everybody's trying to come up with retainers. Everybody's trying to help themselves and get their children back. But again, you have to be honest. When you do get help financially to get your children back, you have to be honest with your attorney. I can't emphasize enough how important that is. It's very important. And don't think that a family law attorney can help you in a juvenile case. And I keep telling you guys this over and over again. People result in family law attorneys because they're cheaper when it comes to juvenile. But in a week or two later, they're going to ask you for more money. So either way, you're going to pay. And people think the retainer is going to handle the whole entire case. No, because you don't see how many times you call your attorney. They don't see how many times you email your attorney. You're not you're not keeping in mind that all this will drain your retainer out. Literally, drain your retainer out. And then all of a sudden, when the attorney says, well, we need more money, then you're like, what? But I just paid you 3 months ago. But you're not counting the amount of time that you keep telling your attorney the same thing you said a week ago or a few days ago. We have people that literally email their attorneys 25 times a day or call them 40 times a day. And then they complain that the attorney is not returning their calls when the attorney, in fact, returns their calls. So people are arguing over, I don't know how to explain it to you guys. Keep in mind that everything you do pertaining to your case will cost you. So my recommendation to you guys is to write it out, right? Write it out and wait until the end of the week, then email your attorney all at once. One time. But if your attorney gives you advice and then you call your attorney again for the same advice, it doesn't work, right? You have to write it down. If your attorney tells you what you need to do, write it down, because you're already thinking about so much going on in your life. You're not going to remember because they're traumatizing you as a parent. So you're not going to remember what the attorney said. So write it down. I have people who called me and said, oh, what did the attorney tell me? I'm not on the phone with you and your attorney, so I don't know what your attorney tells you. So you need to write it down. You need to organize your life. And I understand you're crying, and you have every right to cry every single night because of your kids. They are your soul. I need you guys to put on your armor, warrior protection, and put a mindset that this is war. So you need to think, you need to be on your own 2 feet, you need to be alert so you can get your children back. Educate yourself. Understand the system. Don't be naive to the system. There is no such thing as there are good people in there. There are none. There are no good people in family law or juvenile. There are none. The judges make decisions based on their past life, meaning their childhood life. If they have bad experience with their mom, guess what? They're going to be against moms. If they had bad experience with their dad, they're going to be against dads. So oftentimes we say judges are biased. That's why they're biased. Because they're using their childhood experience and they're taking it out on the public. And that is the God honest truth. The reason people become in power, not because they want to make a change in the world. People that have power, that want power, are usually people that want to control, not to make any changes. Because if people really wanted to make changes, we would be a better place by now. But all these motherfuckers running for office, judges, Congress, cops, social workers, court-appointed attorneys, guardian ad litem, they're corrupt. They want power. A social worker would walk in your home like, I don't need a warrant. I'm a social worker. I'm a fucking social worker. You can't tell me what to do. That's their attitude. Tell me if you haven't experienced that. You have experienced that. But when the social worker enters your home, you're literally opening the door to the devil to walk in. Then you start talking too much. Talk less, smile more. Talk less and smile more. Because I hear people, I'll be on the phone with them while the worker is with them. They are literally telling the worker things that the worker didn't even ask them for. And I'm on the other line saying, okay, stop. Okay, don't. Okay, don't. No need to say that. But they already said it. So they opened Pandora's box. And they're freaking out. And they're trying to justify themselves. They're trying to defend themselves. You can't defend yourself with them. Once you open your mouth, you're literally setting yourself up to fail. And I keep telling everybody, the investigation phase is very important. The investigation phase is to make sure the children are not removed from your home. If you think you're a good parent, like I mentioned, you're deceiving yourself. Because good parents are the ones targeted, not the bad ones. In fact, I have seen children stay in the abusive home or the abusive parent, and the social workers don't do shit about it. There's a case where the children went to the abusive father. After they took the children from the mother, 6 years later, the daughters got older, obviously. They made a report to their teacher at their school. Just listen carefully. Fearing the abuse, and they're scared. And they told the teacher, please don't tell our dad because he's going to be pissed off. What does the teacher do? Fucking go report it to the police. The police gets the CPS involved, and guess what the social worker tells the mother, who gets supervised visits, by the way. We investigated. There's nothing going on. The father is fine. The stepmother is fine. There's nothing going on. Nothing. The police goes to the home, question the kids, right? And the kids are scared. The police is not doing anything about it. Mm-hmm. The social worker should. But a child would not cry out of abuse, right? If they're not being abused. So the mother is the guilty party, which she's not. while the father is the abuser, son of a bitch, and he has rights to the children. Who is alienating the children from the mother to begin with and inflicting fear on them? So the system doesn't work. The system is corrupt. So again, the investigation phase is very important. Do not sign anything. The social worker will intimidate you. Like I said, they will bring the police with them. Why? Because the police has a badge, a gun, uniform. That's a form of intimidation. Form of intimidation. Do not sign shit. And the first thing you need to do is call an attorney. Google on your phone juvenile dependency attorneys in your county. A whole list will pop up. Call all of them. If there's 100 of them, call 100 of them. That's very important. But if you're just gonna sign whatever they tells you to sign, no. If the social worker threatens you and says, if you don't sign here, I'm gonna steal your children, you write that down on a piece of paper dated and ask the social worker to sign. Sign on that paper that she actually said that. And I bet you $100 they're not gonna sign. Because it's illegal for her to say that. Social workers are independent contractors with the state. For example, in California. Okay, I don't know about other states. In California, they're independent contractors through the state. Lancaster is an independent office. Los Angeles, like Monterey Park or Vermont is an independent office. So all the counties are independent and they work through the state. So these motherfuckers have protection. They're like powerful empire that the state protects. It keeps growing and growing and growing because the state protects them. So they will lie. They will deceive. They will make up stories. Keep that in mind. This says reunification services. Their goal is not to reunify you with your children. Remember that. Their goal is not to reunify you with your children. Keep records of all your visits. That's very important. Keep records of all your visits. Your visit, for example, March 23rd, year 2022, 8:30 in the morning until 11:30 in the morning. I brought my children food. I made them mac and cheese. I brought them fruit. I brought them activities. We were having a great time. We took pictures. We posed for pictures. We played Nintendo, whatever you've done with your children that day. If the social worker, the monitor asks you a question during your visit, and then you choose not to respond because it's your time with your children to bond, and the monitor tells you you have to respond to her. For example, I'll give you an example. If the monitor turns around to you during your visit and says, oh yeah, I see that the father did that the other day, and starts gossiping with you, that's not cool. Her goal is not to really tell you what's going on with the father. Her goal is to get you to speak to her. So she can write down in the report that the mother was so busy talking about the dad that she wasn't paying attention to the children during the visit. The monitor is not going to say that I asked her a question or I made a statement. The monitor is not going to say that. So remember that the monitor's goal is to set you up also. So don't respond to the monitor at all. At all. Because what is she going to say if you don't respond? Nothing. Nothing. And if they tell you don't bring your phone with you, don't record your visits, etc., why? Why can't you take a picture of your daughter? Why can't you record your daughter saying mommy so you can listen to it over and over again? Because you're distant from your child. So there is a reason for that. Because the children are being abused and they don't want you to have any record of or any proof of. If there's a bruise on your child, they don't want you to have records of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cassandra. right?
Yep.
Yep. So they don't want you to see the bruises. They don't want you to see the cuts. They don't want you to see the rashes, the diaper rashes. They don't want you
They
to see
don't
the
want you to
bruise
take
under the
record of
child's
any
eye.
of it.
Exactly. They don't want you to have record of everything. So that's why it's important to have an attorney that is not court appointed to you. Reunification services are important because you need to be reunified with your children. But that court appointed attorney is not going to get you there. And if you do hire an attorney, like I mentioned, be honest with your attorney at all times. Don't let your attorney find out by, chance. And then you lose your rights to your children and then blame the attorney for what you've done. If you can't afford an attorney, talk to your family and friends. There's people that literally go from door to door expressing their life or what's going on with CPS in their neighborhood, and they collect the retainer from each one that gives them something. But remember, that retainer is not going to be enough, depending on how far your case is in. If your children are not removed from the home and you call an attorney immediately, it's not going to be that much at all. But it's better than to wait until your child is removed or your children are removed. So keep that in mind. Denise said, if you are in northeastern Pennsylvania, seek out the best lawyer, Richard Roberts Jr. That's good to know, you guys. If you're out of state and you're seeking an attorney out of state, that's very good to know. So Google his name and find out his number and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Here's more information. This is lawyer to fight CYS for you and your family law. He is on your side. That's very good to know. So here's an out-of-state information from some of you. That's very good to know as well too. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Pennsylvania Progress Movement said, yes, they hide behind these confidential laws saying parents cannot record them, their kids, even in their own homes. The only reason people don't want to be recorded is because they are hiding something. Like, duh, how ridiculous can this place get? Unbelievable. That is correct. I like this person, but it's true because you really speak the truth. The truth never wants to be questioned. I mean, a lie doesn't want to be questioned. A lie doesn't like you questioning it. Go ahead.
I found this this handout thing. It's like tips for supervised visitation. It's through parents that are in the welfare system or have been through the welfare system. And it gives you tips and everything of how to go about your visits and gives you good advice on how to, like, bring toys and all that stuff, like help all the confusion and make sure you don't feel guilty. And it's a really good article. Really, it is. It tells you a lot.
About supervised visits?
Uh-huh. Like a visiting checklist, how to get closer to your kid, use positive disciplining, starting over,
But
all
even
that
when
stuff.
you do, that's really good and everything, but treat your child like the way you would treat them at home.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. So, but even doing that, the social worker, I'll give you an example. A mother can bring like a feast to the child, activities, and make them feel comfortable and loved, and the child is very bonding stronger with the mother and doesn't want to leave the mom side. Guess what the social worker writes in the report? I mean, the monitor. The mother brought cookies. That's it. The mother favors one child over the other child. It's fucked up, isn't it? But if you're recording the visit, it will contradict what the monitor is writing down. That's why they don't want you to record the visit. That's why. They don't
And it
want
has like
yeah.
this, it says like how to self-advocate, like to talk to your caseworker and lawyer about the visiting plan and ask for a copy of your court report. Ask your caseworker to explain exactly what you need to do to make progress, and ask for feedback after each visit, and keep a visiting notebook to write down whether you attended and if you were on time and how the visit went, and if your visit was canceled, why, and whether it was made up.
Yep. And actually write down too that who canceled the visit. Was it the foster parent or was it the social worker?
And
or
it
was
says
it both?
if your visit is canceled, speak to your caseworker to reschedule, and if the visits are not made up, show your visiting notebook to the caseworker supervisor or a parent advocate and to your lawyer. That's one of the advices on supervised visits, like handout thing.
You know, you guys have to understand something. When you're dealing with demons, you can't put your guard down. You can't. You literally have to be alert 24/7. Do not ever think that a social worker is not going to send people to follow your ass to the market. If they tell you cannot visit your child at your mom's house, don't think you can sneak up in the middle of the night. Okay, don't ever think you can sneak up in the middle of the night and then go to see your child, and social workers are not going to find out about it. These motherfuckers are stalkers. They will follow you everywhere you go. You will not even suspect it. I have clients who actually said they've noticed somebody following them. And I say, yes, they follow you. They know. They know. I have clients who say, the social worker read my text message to my mom, or to my ex-husband, or to my boyfriend. And they're confused. How did the social worker know that I wrote this to John, or to Eric, or to Sylvia? I cannot ask around. I can't tell you who told me. It's confidential. But this person is very well known, and he's not an attorney. He does something else. And he said to me that that's why Android and Samsung phones are cheap. And they give you Obama phones, because they can tap in them. He did mention that Apple phones, they don't, because Apple has a very strong security, meaning even the government, they wouldn't allow the government to tap in somebody's phone. So again, Obama phones are given to you as free for a reason. They know everything you're talking about, and they know everything you're texting, everything you're doing. So you have to keep in mind the system is not for you. The Democrats are very strong on Obama phones and DPSS and all that stuff. But guess what? You become a number in the system too. They know everything about you. Do you think the Department of DPSS, where cash aid and food stamps, don't interact with DCFS? They do. They're literally butt to butt, cheek to cheek. If you've been collecting food stamps and cash aid for a year or more, or over a year, you're a target. You are a target. And then they go to you and say, anonymous person reported you. Anonymous? Well, who's the anonymous? So if you had a fight with your sister last Thanksgiving, your mind, the devil plays tricks, right? He's the father of lies. He's a trickery. So in your mind, you're like, oh, I had a fight with my sister. It has to be my sister. Or my brother did it. Oh, my mom hates me. She hates my boyfriend. She hates my husband. She did it. And then all of a sudden, you're fighting with your family. You have to keep in mind, when they say anonymous, it's really not 100% of the time anonymous. Keep that in mind. It's actually, they can call and say it's anonymous, of course. They can make a report too. people don't understand that. Do you understand what I'm saying, Cassandra, right? I can't
Definitely.
hear you. Reggie said, I love
Yeah.
this lady.
Can you hear me
One of
now?
the people, yeah, one of the few people not scared to tell it how it really is. Thank you. Thank you, Reggie, so much. I do speak my mind. And again, for those of you that know me, I don't care if President Biden himself is watching my show. I would literally tell him how I feel. And you know I'm right, Cassandra, right? Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Remember what I said last show, so.
Yeah. No. It says many places, social services and CPS are in the same building. Yes, absolutely. I like you. You literally also.
Yeah, so are mine.
Yeah, I really like this person. Yes, that is very true. Many places, social services and CPS are in the same building. That is correct. And they know
Yeah,
everything
that's
about
how
it.
it
They
is
know
where
how to.
I am too.
Yeah.
They're like exactly in the same building. Like
Yep.
there's no like wall separating. It's like just the same lobby as
They're butt to
each
butt,
other.
cheek to cheek. They go out to lunch together. You think court appointed attorneys don't go out to lunch with social workers and go out to parties and shake their butt here and there and have their drinks on? And you think that doesn't happen? I've seen pictures of social workers literally covering their nipple part with a sticker while they're partying in a club and they're posting all this crap on social media. Social workers, by the way, holding alcohol. The same worker that goes to a parent's house and judge the parent because they have a tattoo on their arm. And they think a parent with tattoos are dangerous. I have heard a social worker say that. Literally, to one of our clients. That's fucked up, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They judge parents, but yet they're fucked up themselves. They go out, drink, and all that. But God forbid if they see the bottle of wine in the innocent parent's home, they're alcoholics. But the abuser parent, who's an alcoholic, has a whole fucking cabinet of alcohol, but he's the most suitable parent. That's how fucked up our system is. The truth is a lie, and the lie is a truth. The victim is the perpetrator, and the perpetrator is the victim. That's exactly how our system is designed to think. Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. So keep in mind, again, educate yourself. Do not talk to your social worker like she's your friend. Do not take advice from your friends and family. Oh, if you just be friends with them, everything is going to be okay. No, they're lying. They don't know. Not lying, but they're misled. Misled. It doesn't work out that way. The social worker is not your friend. Do not ever say the social worker is nice. She's not nice. She's not nice. And before you know it, this so nice person is going to move away, and then they're going to get you the bitch from hell. What happened to the nice person? Why did they give you the bitch from hell? It's a game they play. None of them are nice. Yep. M. Young said it needs to change big time. Yeah. It does. But we're going to have to make that change too.
Yep.
Us being together, we as unit, as united together, when you're united together, you're stronger. When you're separated, you're weaker. That's why I said, do not let a certain party divide us. Whether you're Democratic or Republican, that's irrelevant. We need to unite together and we need to be heard. But some of you guys are fearful of that. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of them. They want you to. Because remember, a bully, a sociopath, a narcissist, they want you to be afraid so they can get what they want. They have to bring you down. They cannot go against you when you're stronger. They can't. These motherfuckers are cowards. You're dealing with cowards. You're not dealing with sane. You're dealing with cowards. How do you bring a coward down? You have to be strong. Courage is not the lack of fear. It is acting in spite of it. Remember that. You need to have courage. They're not your God. They act like God, but they're not. They're Satan. They're demonic. So you have courage. You can only control yourself. You have power. You just don't know how strong you are because they brought you down. They literally snatched your soul away from you because our children are our souls, each and every one of us. So the only way to target a parent is by stealing their child. Remember that. Cassandra, thank you so much for joining me, baby. Again, I will see you later, I hope. If not, let me know. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching me. I have my other show at 1 o'clock is Fight CPS Real Talk with Miss G. Miss Cassandra is going to be with me as well. And at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to have Fight CPS. Relatives Fight CPS at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. God bless you all and be strong, and you're not defeated. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.